What up, guys? Another Adonis review. Today we will be discussing the VR game Soul Covenant. Now, this can be obtained in many ways, two of them being on PC, which also means Quest PC. It should be also, I think, normally available on Quest if you don't have a PC, but don't hold me on that. I did not do the research to tell you if that's a fact. And it is obviously available on PSVR 2. The standard price for this game is $50 or $49.99 for sticklers. And I've definitely seen it for $39.99. I'm not sure if that's with a discount or if they just immediately decided it's not worth $50, but I definitely seen that as well. Now, a few things I want to get into real quick when it comes to discussing this game as a whole. This game looks cool from the offset. The nice looking, unique sword styles are pretty dope. It's a very anime-esque aesthetic, which looks cool for people who like anime, which is a large majority of people these days. And its price tag, at least in some places, being that $50, leads you strongly to believe that this could be who knows, possibly a 100-hour long epic. And unfortunately, it's a massive trick. There's a thing that I've noticed when it comes to VR games, and that's that one, the developers who make most of them really have it rough around the edges. It blows my mind that Resident Evil 8 can be so smoothly adapted into VR, where you have this, AAA shooter, cinematic, great looking game, and it's fantastic not in non-VR, and it's only amplified by VR. But yet it's so difficult for these VR developers to make a halfway decent game with good graphics and good amount of time. But here's the thing: usually it slightly compensates itself with the price tag. VR games out the gate, weren't coming out with $70 games, and then eventually had to realize that they weren't worth it and they were losing their mind, and then they brought down the standard price of $30. They have always been around $30, kind of being the average. So when you see a game that's reaching for the stars with its price tag, again, with it being around $50, typically anything above $50 or above $40 is kind of saying that they're proud of their game. They think it's kind of worth it, that they've done something that's better than the standard. But that's not the truth here. I don't know where the audacity came from this game to believe they are worthy of their $50 price tag, but it's unfortunately just not worth that. First off, I haven't found any mechanics on the PC version that really allow you to mess with the graphics of the game, which isn't to say that it looks terrible or anything like that. Just without any adjustments, it looks good. It's a decent looking game. It's definitely not Resident Evil 8 levels, but you're definitely not. It's not going to ruin your day by how it looks. The weapon, again, is cool. There's a few different weapons you'll get throughout the game, which come from the people who die. And when you get their bodies from the battleground, and it becomes your weapon, because why the fuck not, right? And then each weapon has like a dual way to use it. Like the first weapon you'll get, it will be this sword that you'll see on screen, and when you kind of hold it with both hands, it kind of like morphs and extends into like a Grim Reaper scythe. And then you get this shield that you can use to block. You can dash and jump, and then your life not your life hand, your left hand absorbs these diamond soul things that people leave behind, and eventually you get to cock your hand into a super laser beam, which of course is living out every little boy's dream, and you just annihilate people with this hand job beam that you get. Which is cool looking, I guess, but not very effective. Not as effective as you think it would be. The sword also has a weird length to it where you're like, there's no way I want to hit this guy who's flying in the air, and it still can. But I won't be mad at it. Overall, the fighting mechanics and everything, it's not like it's terrible, but it's definitely nothing to write home about. Nothing special. It's fine. It does what it does. Something. But that mixed with its lackluster story, essentially the game's cut up into like tiny chapters, which I don't know, take 10 minutes perhaps to beat one. You get like an intro little story where they talk about something, and then the second part of that goes into the battle, and then the third little thing in the 10 minutes kind of wraps up that arc of the 10 minutes. And then you just kind of rinse and repeat that until like 6 or 7 hours pass and the game's over. If this game, there's a few things I would recommend to the developers if I was to, if you want this game to at least be presented halfway better. The way that they have it broken up where you gotta like have these 10-minute little arcs of listening to like a log and then fighting, then listening to the final log. It's monotonous and boring. It's like, just get me to the battle. You can skip it, but you're like, wow, I'm not getting my money if I'm fucking skipping it. But but once you start the battle, you're then plopped into this arena-ish area, as you can see, which isn't tiny, but that's how they all are. They're just like these kind of arenas they made. One's like a city freeway in a tunnel, and another one's like this. And again, the way I'd fix if I were them to at least give it more, we'll do like that sprawling side 2D scroller where you're kind of moving forward, killing these fuckers, trying to get to the end of it. Would at least give you some type of meaning towards the game, instead of kind of just being standing in an area fighting like a wave or two. At least if it felt like you're kind of bulldozing through them to the end of the map, it would. They could easily do that with like essentially how big the map kind of it could be, and it would be fine, and it wouldn't be half bad. You just trick somebody into thinking it's like a bit more structured game than it is. But I digress. So, anyways, long story short, what do you got here? You got a game with not terrible, but definitely nothing great fighting mechanics. Slightly cool looking weapons. They don't really pack that much of a punch. A story that you could give zero fucks about. That does not matter what's happening in this fucking story. You'll never care. And we got a slight leveling up system. But the biggest thing here is you got a price tag of $50 or $40. That I have no fucking clue where they pulled that from. I can't understand why I think it's worth $50 out the gate. This game is a brand new out the gate 30. I'm being generous saying $35. Probably a $30 game. Brand new is what they should have charged for it. It's a fair price to pay where you just wouldn't be like, what the, like, ouch, it wasn't worth $30, but it's only $30. It's not the end of the world. But no, they went for $50, which again, I don't think anyone in their right mind would pay that and feel like they got their money's worth ever. So I'd recommend wholeheartedly not buying this at $50. I'd recommend wholeheartedly, probably not buying this at $40. I would say this game is worth $15, $20 to be fair. If you can get it at $20, sure, and you have some spare money, fucking get it. But I'd say $15, you won't completely be hating yourself if you pay $15 for it. It's very forgettable. So that's my review. Maybe wait till it's $20 or whatever. Maybe play it online illegally. Either for me, I don't know. But fucking, it's definitely not worth 50. If you disagree, I'd love to know why, what you think about it, and if you do play it, and I don't know, have thoughts. Tell me your thoughts. Later, guys.